Hi, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to begin our service in about a minute or two, so please find your seats. We'll be starting momentarily. Also, please check your cell phones. Please check your cell phones. Make sure they're either off or on vibrate, please. Please check cell phones. Make sure they are either off or on vibrate. Thank you. Once again, our service will start momentarily. Please, if you haven't already, check your cell phones. Please make sure they are either off or on vibrate, please. Be starting in a minute or two. שיוויתי אדוני לנגדי תמיד, כי ממני בל אמות. לכן שמח ליבי ועגל כבודי, אף בשרי ישכון לבטח. I have set the eternal always before me. God is at my side. I shall not be moved. Therefore does my heart exult and my soul rejoice. My being is secure. For you will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful ones see destruction. You show me the path of life. Your presence brings fullness of joy. Enduring happiness is your gift, says Psalm 16. We don't have any magic for moments like this. We don't have incantations or spells, don't even have prayers necessarily that fix these moments. The only thing we have is this. We have you. We have community. We have people who show up, people who tell stories, people who hug and kiss and talk and bring food and comfort and love. That's what we have. And so I know that I speak on behalf of Brooke's family when I share with you a thanks for showing up. It is easy to show up for a bat mitzvah, for a wedding. But this isn't easy. And so your presence brings the love and brings the support. So thank you for bringing that love and support. And our request is this, that the love and the support don't just happen right now. That the love and support happens tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. The calls, the check-ins, the hugs, the kisses, the food. I mean, we're Jewish, so the food. So thank you for being here, even though none of us want to be here. Mourning is the price we pay for having the courage to love others. Even in grief, we know that the wonder of human life is too complex, too magnificent to be memorialized in endless pain. The gifts of spirit that Brooke gave us cannot be measured or weighed, nor can it be lost or even tarnished by time. Even in our darkest hours, we know that Brooke's light will always be with us, bringing comfort and courage, and in the fullness of time, and at some point, healing and peace. The Torah this week is an interesting piece of text that talks about rules, but right towards the end of the portion, it says this: Hine anochi sholeach malach lefanecha lishmarecha bedarkech. It says, I am sending an angel before you to guard you on your way. And so, however you interpret that angel, it's the job of that angel to bring us all support. Maybe we are each one of us, that angel that's bringing that support. And so thank you for being that angel. Thank you for being that malach that's been sent for us to try to bring comfort and meaning to this moment. For those in sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Brooke's love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. For her companionship that we shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For her heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. We do so by connecting with our scriptures. We do so with connecting with readings. We do so with connecting with our traditions. Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halach b'atzat rasha'im u'vaderech chata'im lo amad. Happy are those who have not followed the counsel of the wicked, or taken the path of sinners, or joined the path of those sinners in the company of the insolent. Rather, the teaching of God is their delight, and they study that teaching day and night. They are like a tree planted beside streams of water that yields its fruit in season, whose foliage never fades, and whose fruit always flourishes. Among these many psalms, we'll hopefully continue to find the comfort that we are seeking. And so throughout the service, not only will there be people speaking with us, close friends and family to Brooke, but four of us of our clergy here at Congregation B'nai Israel will be here as well. So Rabbi Silvers is here, our Rabbi Emeritus. Rabbi Khan is here. Cantor Muchnick is here, and I'm Rabbi Keller. I'm going to invite both Rabbi Khan and Cantor Muchnick now to continue.
Rabbi Keller mentioned that we turn to our tradition and we offer ancient words because we don't know any other way, because our brains are at a loss, because we have no other words for this unfairness. There are no answers this afternoon to our question, why Brooke? There are no words for this sadness, no words for this emptiness, this wound. We know Brooke's presence will now be forever present. Her absence will now be forever present, especially for those who loved her most. And life will never be the same. And while that's true, it's also true that eventually, even this unfathomable darkness will turn slowly into gray, somehow into light, allowing our brokenness to awaken to life once again. Because the only true answer to a tragedy like this is to try and live more deeply and love more fully. So even though we are shaken, we refuse to give sorrow more meaning than joy. To grant death the power over life is not our way. Losing Brooke is a deep wound in our souls, and our souls need time to recover. We will carry a part of her loss with us, probably forever. But we will somehow keep living and let her memory bring us joy. So today, while we stop and recognize our loss, we feel it, we know it, we are shaken by it. we also remind ourselves that with effort, eventually we will awaken to life again. So we celebrate all the good of Brooke's life. We focus on the joyous memories, on the friendship and closeness shared. We celebrate the blessing of having known her and the gifts of having loved her. We allow her memory to ignite a bittersweet sense of wonder that her life made an impact on us. And we take her memory and let it propel us forward. For even after the darkest of nights, the sun will rise. This is why we proclaim in our next psalm that even as we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we do not walk alone. We do not stop and get stuck, trapped in that valley of pain. We keep going, even if it's just one tiny step at a time. We keep trying to feel God's presence, keep striving to somehow feel goodness and mercy, to remember somehow we are forever welcome in the house of Adonai. Cantor will now sing Psalm 23.
Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, binot eshe yarbitzeini, al mei menuchot ינעלני. נפשי ישובב, נפשי ישובב, ינחני ומגלי צדק, למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צלמוות, לא ירא רע, כי אתה שבטך ומשענתך, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפני שולחן, תערוך לפני שולחן, תערוך לפני שולחן, נגד צוררי, דשנת ושמן ראשי, דשנת ושמן ראשי, דשנת ושמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני. ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים.
The words the cantor just sang so beautifully proclaim, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me to lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. God, you lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever."
לכל זמן ועת, לכל חפץ תחת השמיים, עת ללדת ועת למות, עת לטעת ועת לעקור נטוע. The words probably written by King Solomon, found in the book of Ecclesiastes, and made famous by the birds with a Y. For everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. And so now we will have various people come up to the bima, speak and share some words. First, we're going to hear from Marissa, then Paul, then Evan, and then Patty and Ned.
Hi, my name is Marissa, and I have the honor of being Brooke's longest friend. Brooke and I met in preschool and became best friends in first grade. 2 years later, she moved to Boca from Miami. After high school, she went to New Orleans, and I went to New York. But no matter how much time went by or how much distance was between us, she always remained my most special friend. And to this day, I consider her my very best. Brooke and I couldn't have been more different. I was a boxy brunette who played softball and wanted to be an actor. She was a lithe, beautiful blonde who was a wonderful gymnast and cheerleader. She excelled at academics. My favorite school period was lunch. But what we lacked in commonalities, we made up for in love. It was never lost on me that I was blessed to have her love. I admired Brooke up close and from afar. She was luminous, effortless, inherently real and true to herself, kind and generous, fun-loving and thoughtful. She was the most beautiful woman I ever have seen. But what made her gorgeous on the outside paled in comparison to her inner beauty. I've been thinking back on our 30-plus years of friendship, desperately trying to remember some unlocked memory from our past, because maybe that will feel like I had a little more time with her. I haven't been successful thus far, so I've just been combing through the memories I do have, because her memory truly is a blessing. So here's one from when we were kids. My parents had their walls sponge painted, and Brooke and, I loved it, but Brooke loved it so much that we decided in her new house in Boca we would try and replicate the sponge painting in her room. And it wasn't very good, but we got our paints and we took our colors, and I had paint all over my hand, and I kind of tripped, I guess, and got like just a pure handprint right on the wall. And I felt really bad. And of course, being who she was like, it's okay. And she put her hand in paint and put her handprint right next to mine. And there it remained. And then when they painted over, they put a little frame, years later, they put a little frame around our handprints. So they were just there forever. And that's how it feels. It's forever, Another favorite memory of mine is as adults. She came to New York for my bachelorette party. We went to a bar and we sat there, and she's staring at the glass and she starts like tapping it. She's like, so weird. They don't put it in plastic. I was like, who serves a drink in a bar in a plastic cup? She says, how do you take it to go? I was like, who takes a drink to go? And she was like, oh, that's just what we do in New Orleans. And so I said, I have to visit this NOLA, and I'm so glad I did last year. A couple of weeks ago, I got to meet Gemma and spend time with DJ. As I watched in silence and awe, DJ held Gemma, smiling down at her and talking to her. I so looked forward to hearing Brooke's thoughts on motherhood, as I knew no one would give it to me as straight as she would. And as I surveyed the moment with DJ holding that beautiful, shining beacon of light, I just knew Brooke was looking down, and that it all would have absolutely exceeded her expectations. DJ, I know I've said this 1,000 times, but Aunt Marissy Pooh is here to stay. I'm gonna miss Brooke with all my heart and regret the shoulda, woulda, couldas. But mostly I'm gonna think of her often and smile. And thank the powers that be that she was in my life. I could talk for 1,000 more hours about Brooke, but I imagine everyone wants to go home at some point. So I'm just gonna end with a quote that's been helping me through my grief. I hope it helps you. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I may have to refer back to my notes here. I am Paul Tabio. I am, thank you, Brooke's uncle. And next to me are my sisters, Maria and Margarita. And Patty, of course, the subject here. Let's see. Where do we start? First of all, I would echo what Marissa said about Brooke. Fabulous words and precisely true. It has been a few days. I'll go ahead and read this because I don't know if I can get through otherwise. It has been a few days since Brooke passed away. And her passing has caused us to mourn, hurt, cry, and overall feel an overwhelming void in our hearts, as we all know. Trauma, anger, questions, all these reactions has caused us all an unexpected feelings as a result of this unexpected tragedy. I suggest now that we begin the process of healing, and that's what my talk will be all about. It's all about healing at this point, as much as we can. And I suggest we will heal. All right? Healing is energy, in my opinion. Healing is positive energy. It is light. It is precisely what Brooke stood for, represented, and demonstrated in her life and in her beauty. All with her presence and her actions. Healing is precisely what she would want us to do at this point. That's all. That's my belief in knowing my niece very well. Accordingly, let's focus on that. I would ask that we focus on that, and it'll carry us through. Let's grab these healing forces that the universe gives us as a tool, and so we can specifically face and eventually overcome our grief and sadness. These healing forces give us strength and faith and allow us to view life as a precious gift it is while we have it. We must enjoy every minute of it. Enjoy all our friends, all our relatives, all our family, because that's all we got. That's all we got. And the more we realize that, the best it'll be. Let's focus on Gemma, our newly born baby girl that was left to us by Brooke as her legacy and as her presence on earth. Gemma, in effect, will be a huge part of this healing process. She will be a source of strength to DJ, Brooke's perfect spouse and partner, and it'll be a source of strength to us, to all of us, in going through this madness. DJ's family will also be a source of strength for healing. My family will be a source of strength for healing. You all will be a family unit, and it'll be a source of strength and healing for yourselves and for us. Collectively, we will be a unit of healing, not suffering, a unit of healing and celebration, which is what this is all about, a celebration of Brooke's life, her short life, but a fantastic life that she had. We will all heal, but never forget our beautiful Brooke. We will. I believe this in my core. I really do. I trust that you believe as well. We will heal for Brooke. That's our focus here. We will heal for Brooke. Now, right this moment, let's begin our path toward healing. All in the name of my niece. My beautiful niece, Brooke. Brooke Shandloff Fernandez. Thank you for listening, and thank you for celebrating my niece's life. Now I will quote one of my favorite poets, Maya Angelou, who says, Nothing can dim the light which shines from within. That was Brooke. Live and remain. So let's allow the light. That was Brooke. Sorry. Live, remain for all our time on this planet, and let it shine from within to carry us all through this difficult period. I botched Maya Angelou's words there, but nevertheless, I thank you for coming, for Brooke, for our family, and may she always last in our memory. Thank you.
Gotta follow that. Hi, everyone. As everyone knows, these weeks have been pretty brutal. But I want to start out by thanking everyone who's been there and is here. Calls, texts, food, words of encouragement, just everything. DJ, who's watching, wanted me to send thanks to everyone for being there for him, for us, for the Fernandez family, for the Shandloff family, the Appel family, everything everyone's done. Man, I didn't even get past the first paragraph. This is brutal. I want to thank B'nai Israel, Congregation B'nai Israel, Rabbi Keller, Rabbi Silvers, Rabbi Khan, Cantor Muchnick, Steve Allen, for everything you guys have done for us, putting this together today, allowing us to do this. I'd like to thank Toro Synagogue in New Orleans, who's helped out our family there. And now I'm going to get to the fun part. At least I'm going to try to. So I met Brooke when she was 16. As we got older, our relationship grew from the guy who was dating her sister to a true older brother, little sister relationship. We gave each other a hard time, laughed together, cried together, sometimes looked to each other for advice, if she wanted to listen. Though I've never admitted this to Heather, sorry, and she's reading it, but Brooke was the cooler sister. I'm sorry. Sorry, it is what it is. I'm sorry. I love you, but she was a little cooler. She wasn't loud. She wasn't trying to be the center of attention. But when she walked into a room, you knew she was there. She had the it factor that was hard to describe, but easy to identify. Brooke, who was known as TT to our girls, was and will always be an unbelievable aunt. Almost every night at dinner, we'd FaceTime with Brooke. We'd call Brooke's phone, and the first question the girls would ask is, "Where's Uncle DJ?" And each and every time, Brooke would give a look like, what is this? You're calling me? What's going on here? And the three of them would just laugh, knowing the big joke that was every time we called. The truth is, they always wanted to talk to TT. Brooke was the cool aunt who knew all about wine and knew all the fun places to go in New Orleans, especially to get the beignets. As most of you know, once the girls were born, we started making frequent trips to New Orleans so we could bring our chaos to Brooke and DJ's house, sometimes with the girls and the dog, which was always an adventure. But we invaded their calm and quiet home. Some of the best times we had there were late at night after a long day of running around with the kids. Obviously, Heather was sleeping. Brooke, DJ, and I would just stay up watching terrible TV shows, drinking wine, and talking for hours. We woke her up eventually, but all the fun had passed. I know everyone talks about how great Brooke is, and it's true, she's great, but she did have some flaws. Brooke, like her mother and her sister, had a penchant for laughing at certain physical pain suffered by others. Think slapstick comedy type pain, not real serious stuff. But two of these instances I remember Brooke laughing the hardest were at my expense. While ziplining in Alaska, I got stuck hanging over a mountain on the longest track on the entire course, because that would happen to me. Instead of showing any concern, deep in the distance, I could see Brooke and my loving wife and mother-in-law standing there, hysterical laughing as I looked down, wondering if this is going to be where I ended it, where I was going to be left dangling over a mountain somewhere in Alaska. More recently, this past December, and I'm sorry for those of you who are in New Orleans who already heard this, while coming down the steps at Brooke and DJ's house, me as the klutz that I am, crashed down onto the stairs, just wiped out, writhing in pain on the stairs. No explanation, just can't walk on stairs. Though at first I couldn't see it, I heard Brooke howling with laughter as I limped off the steps towards the couch. Just couldn't stop laughing. I'm writhing in pain and she's hysterical. She couldn't stop laughing and her big pregnant belly was just bouncing up and down. And that laugh is ingrained in my memory. I was also a little horrified of Brooke at times. Anyone who spent enough time with her knew she had a look you didn't want to be on the receiving end of. Like the time Brooke was doing a Zoom wine tasting from her house, she was explaining the origins of all the wines, what was in them, what to pair them with, all that stuff. Though she had quite a captive audience on the computer, Heather and I could not have cared less about where the Cabernet came from. We didn't care. We just knew we wanted to keep drinking the wine and eating the cheese, didn't really care about the explanations. We may have drank a little too quickly and gotten a little too giggly from our end of the table, as Sophie also spilled a giant bowl of mac and cheese on the floor. And Brooke looked at us from up behind the computer and gave us the look. It was a problem for us. We knew we had to stop. And we quickly froze like we were being scolded by a parent. We began learning, we stopped, we began listening and learning where the Cabernet came from and what to pair it with. So at no other time was I more horrified of Brooke than when I tried to be helpful to do the dishes at their house. Those of you probably listening online, the New Orleans family probably can relate to this. One spoon or bowl in the wrong place and it was all over. The look, absolutely stare down. And now I'm actually scared to load our own dishwasher because I'm pretty sure Brooke is judging me every time I put a bowl in backwards or the spoon in the wrong place. It's truly frightening. So I was listening to the radio the other day and the song Wonderful by Everclear came on. And the first 4 lines of the song hit me because it captures how most of us have felt since January 20th. And yes, I'm about to quote 90s rock music. So for those of you in my generation, I hope you enjoy. It says, I close my eyes when I get too sad. I think thoughts that I know are bad. Close my eyes and I count to 10. Hope it's over when I open them. Unfortunately, the loss of Brooke is a reality, and there's nothing we can do no matter how many times we close our eyes to try to bring her back. I'll miss our weekend calls with Brooke when she checked in to see how many kids' parties we were going to that day, wondering what the heck was going on here and what this life was that we were living here with our 2 or 3 birthday parties every Saturday. I'll miss our dinners out in New Orleans, wandering around the city with Brooke and DJ in the city that they love so much. The font's really big. I swear it's not that many pages. It's just I'm getting old and I need larger fonts. But also I'll miss the opportunity to see Brooke as a mother. I know how much she was looking forward to the experience and getting the calls from us about how many birthday parties she was going to on a Saturday. There is some light at the end of this long, dark, winding tunnel, and that's baby Gemma. When looking through some pictures before I sat down to write this, I noticed the time on the newborn card in Gemma's crib said 0018, and I did a little bit of a double take. Didn't say 12:18 a.m., it said 0018. And for those of you that don't know, in Judaism, 18 or high is a symbol for life. Gemma's the new life we can all embrace and cherish as a reminder of Brooke. Though Brooke isn't here in the physical sense anymore, she'll be with us in some manner forever, whether it's thinking of her every time we have a glass of wine or having our nightly FaceTime calls with DJ and Gemma or making our annual holiday trip to New Orleans. Brooke will be with us. We'll tell Gemma the stories of Brooke and make sure she grows up to know how special her mother is. And I say is, not was. because Brooke will live on through all of our stories and the special times before she was taken too soon.
As I look around and see familiar faces, I find peace, love, and happiness. All of you have had a piece of love from Brooke, either directly or indirectly. Everywhere she went, Brooke, my Brookie, my boo-boo, made an impact. I want to thank everyone here for the love and support through these days, these very difficult days for myself and my family. I also want to thank Touro Synagogue in New Orleans that offered me so much support. Rabbi Katie, if you're watching, thank you so much for all your help in your synagogue. Your people are just beautiful people. I apologize for not answering calls or messages. Ned and I both have a different way of grieving. He loves people. But I have found that I find peace in solitude. But I promise I felt your love and your concern. It might take me a while to get over the loss of my Brookie. I feel totally blessed to have had two amazing daughters that I can truly call my best friends. Heather and Brooke have always been those angels. I feel peace knowing that Brooke died in peace, happy, and full of love. Brooke was happy about everything in her life. She loved New Orleans, the city she called home, where she first fell in love with Rexy. Rexy was a Chiweenie that was supposed to be a Rottweiler. She rescued Rexy from a homeless man who was wanting money. And that's how she was, always helping people. She loved working at Arnold's, which is a well-known restaurant in the quarter. And this is where she met her real love of her life. DJ and her were inseparable. They had a love that made me the happiest mama. And for that, I thank DJ for providing Brooke the most amazing love and support all the years that they were together. I couldn't ask for a better son-in-law, except for Evan, too. One of her concerns that she confided in me 1 week before her death was how a baby was going to impact their life. And she felt her life was perfect with DJ. It was just perfect and complete. And I told her things will fall into place. Little did I know. Brooke loved her house that DJ and her spent time in together renovating. She loved sitting in her patio, enjoying the little birds that she called chickadees. She spent hours threading her fence trellis with these beautiful, fragrant white flower plants that I think they were jasmine. So those are the simple things that Brooke loved and made her happy. And of course, her love for the family was huge. She loved and cherished her title of TT to Sophie and Abby, but was a bit jealous that they loved their uncle more. And would ask for him whenever they FaceTimed, almost every day. She loved her friends, which she felt she had few of, but in reality, she had a multitude of friends throughout her life. She had a special bond with her Tulane gals. She would tell me all about their lives and stories, which of course I kept to myself. And Ned would always say, "Why didn't you tell me?" No. In New Orleans, Brooke's celebration of life, her service, her friends confided in me that they all wished they had a similar relationship with their moms. I cherish my very close mother-daughter bond with my now true angel in heaven, which I know will always be by my side. Brooke loved her job. She started in the wine industry as a wine sales rep and later as on-premise sales manager for Fiji, Justin, and Landmark Wines. Whenever I had a question about wine, I was at Costco. Brooke, I FaceTime. Which one do I get? She knew them all. She loved her coworkers, and she felt so lucky for the job she had. So you see, Brooke she had the perfect life. She was happy and loved everything about her life. Luckily, Brooke was able to see Gemma before passing. Her and DJ decided on the name Gemma, which they kept private until the birth, which Sophie and Abby kept asking them, "Can you just, is it this name? Is it that name?" They kept it a secret. They wouldn't tell anybody. Gemma was named because she was going to be their gem. It gives me peace that the last vision for Brooke was Gemma and DJ. I believe she went peacefully, without pain, and with love in her heart. I was talking to a dear friend of mine who also lost her beloved daughter, and she told me that Brooke will always be with me. Moments later, I'm scrolling through Facebook, and I came upon this poem, which I'll end with. A love letter from those who have passed on. Take the love you have for me and radiate it outwards, allowing it to touch and impact others. Take the memory you have of me and use it as a source of inspiration to live fully, meaningfully, and intentionally. Take the image you have of me in your mind and allow it to fuel you, to take action, seize the day, and be reminded of what is most important in life. Take the care you have for me and let it remind you to care for yourself fully and shower yourself with your own love. And take the pain and grief you feel following my loss and alchemize it into love, compassion, and beauty. Build a castle from the wreckage of my passing and allow it to unlock your greatness and potential and empower you to become more than you ever thought you were capable of being. And now that I can never truly leave you, I will always remain beside you, watching over you in spirit, and that the love I have for you lives on through the connections you form, the kindness and compassion you share, and the future relationships and friendships you cultivate. Until we are one day reunited, I will remain with you through the storms and chaos of life. I'm always beside you, walking with you, laughing with you, crying with you, and smiling with you. And I'm proud of you for being strong, and I'm proud of you for being brave. I am proud of you for being you.
I was going to try to do this on you.
You sure?
Yeah, no problem. I was going to try to do this contemporaneously, but I realized there was too many things I wanted to say, and I probably skipped some of them, so I'm better off reading it. I'd just like to share some I'd like to share just some of my great memories with Brooke. I mean, there's lots of them, but I'd like to share a few with you. God blessed us with two fantastic daughters. They basically always knew to do the right thing. They were smart, they were focused, they went to their colleges of choice and had the careers of their choice, and we couldn't be luckier, so we thank God for that. With Brooke, she started walking at 7.5 months, and she skipped the stage of holding onto a couch and walking. She just walked straight ahead, and if she fell over, she'd get up and do it again. And she had no hair, so she actually looked like a little Uncle Fester walking at that time. But we knew she would be a future gymnast. We went to Sweden, Norway, and Denmark while Hurricane Andrew was hitting us, which we didn't realize was going to happen. And the highlight for me, I went on the roller coaster in Tivoli Gardens 42 times in a row with Brooke until it closed. She kept on wanting to go from the end back to the beginning, get in line, and do it again. Heather and Brooke went to 2 summer camps while Patty was camp nurse, and had a good time there. She went on a teen tour in the summer of middle school with her best friend Marissa around the country, including staying at various great colleges, camping out, and staying at hotels. We went on a long spring break with my mom also to Paris, and what Brooke loved the most was the chocolate Nutella crepes. Heather also. We had a lot of great Indian princess weekends together, with the most notable being a ski trip to Vail with our good friends, and a couple of them skiing backwards and shooting the videos. And I still remember the great video that one of our good friends took with Brooke and his daughter skiing. And the other one was, we had an Indian princess trip to Washington, and coincidentally it was Million Man March weekend. So actually all the big sites were open in Washington because the people there were there to protest, not to be tourists. And our congressman friend had arranged a special trip to the top of the Capitol that only a few people get to do a day. You have to be accompanied by a congressman. And coincidentally, it was at the time of the Million Man March. So we were all on the top looking at everybody below, and it was like an incredible experience. Brooke was a competitive gymnast until after returning from the '96 Olympics in Atlanta, where we had the best seats for all the women's gymnastics events with our friends. And Brooke was, and I thought that this was going to be something to motivate her more, because she left the gym to go with us. But she actually decided the day she got back, she went to the gym one day and said, "I don't want to do this anymore. I want to play clarinet in the middle school band." So she played the clarinet in middle school, and of course we saw her at various times. But in high school she wanted to be a cheerleader, and was the first freshman on the varsity squad as a flyer, and the only one that could do a scorpion. And of course she was captain as a senior. She was always smart and focused, and did well, as did Heather, in the International Baccalaureate program, earning herself a year of college credits and a free ride to the University of Florida, but she wanted to go to Tulane. She loved New Orleans and got jobs for her spending money since she didn't want an allowance, which is also true with Heather. Both of them in high school wanted their own jobs for their own money. They never wanted us to give them a nickel for their spending money. Brooke was also a Katrina baby at Tulane. It was at the start of her junior year, and of course the school closed, and she was a biology major at the time, and she found a couple of biology courses in a Syracuse program in Madrid. When Heather and Brooke were in high school, we sent them to Tarifa, Spain, so they could learn Spanish well, living with Spanish families, and you know, that was a great experience. And when she went to Madrid, that really helped her because it only took her a day or two to pick up her Spanish again. And she worked at like Real Madrid Stadium when Beckham was playing, and you know, she really enjoyed Madrid as well as her schooling. And you know, I don't think they did this when we were kids, but the last week of the trip, they had a week, since it was biology, I guess one was environmental, they had a week of scuba diving in the Canary Islands. After Brooke graduated, she wanted to stay in New Orleans, as you know, and decided that she wanted to go to the wine industry instead of becoming a veterinarian. She loved first she didn't think she wanted to be a vet inside all day, and then one of my good friends from Ocala invited us to see an arthroscopic surgery of a horse, and she said, no, I didn't want to do that either. But she wanted to go into the wine industry. She loved her sales rep jobs at Republic National, and then with the wonderful companies, as Patty said, where she oversaw sales of Fiji Water, Landmark Wines, and Justin Wines for 3 states, Alabama, Arkansas, and Louisiana. And thanks to my brother-in-law, I met the people she worked with who came to New Orleans from Chicago, Kansas City, and someplace else, just to say how great she was. She was perfect for her position, and we'll really miss her. She met the love of her life, DJ, at Arnoz's, you know, and they spent years as soulmates, including years of co-ed kickball, where DJ was the star of the teams, and got married in our cousin George's beautiful house 4 years ago on the ocean in Key Largo, which is exactly what Brooke wanted. They had put off marriage and having kids until they were 36 or 37. She and her best friends from Tulane, I mean, they were hardworking, smart, everything, and Brooke, you know, had a lot of together time, I guess, around the country with them on the phones, etc. Brooke was looking forward to be the best mom ever and did all her research to do that. She had, you know, she's all prepared with everything, and she even said to me, Daddy, I'm only going to let close families see Gemma until she's 6 weeks old because she won't have had her shots, and I don't want to expose her. And if you have a cold, please don't come. So turned out I was supposed to go with Heather right before the birth and didn't go for that reason, but of course I went the following week, unfortunately, but I heard all about what was going on from Patty, and the worst day of my life, as you could imagine. Let's pray for DJ, who is very hardworking, a tremendous human being, and our new granddaughter Gemma, that will have that they will have a happy and healthy life together, and whatever we can do to help out, we certainly will. And thank all of you for being here. It means a lot to us, and of course we never thought we'd be in this position, but you know, Brooke will be our guardian angel, period. And so.
You know, I tell people when they're speaking at services such as this to write it down so they can focus and try to maintain their composure. I don't usually write things down. I usually do these things off the cuff. But I knew if I was to do something about Brooke, I couldn't do it off the cuff because I would not maintain my composure. So I wrote it down. And still, I'm not sure if I'll give it all this way or not. As Rabbi Keller said to us at the beginning, at a time of deep grief and shock as this, words are inadequate. There are no words to express the pain and the disbelief that find us all in, and especially Brooke's family. All we can say is that the God who took Brooke from us is the same God who gave this precious soul to us in the first place. So I pray and I thank God for her, and I pray that her sweet memory will always remain a blessing among us. Too many of us are often faced with these terrible, tragic moments and chapters in our life. See, I went off script. And the only thing that helps us is the support of our family and friends, who I often say do God's work by manifesting God's presence for us. You're the hands of God to reach out and embrace this family, and the voice of God to speak to them of love and life. Too many of us face these terrible tragedies that there are no answers for. But there is always the answer to the pain in finding our friends and family who are there for us. And as much as Patty, Ned, Heather, Evan, Sophie, and Abby have been there for me in my difficult times, I will be there for you, and everybody here will be there for you. It doesn't magically make the pain go away. It doesn't magically help heal us, but it helps in some small way. Our faith must be based not on the kind of world that brings grief and tragedy, but based on the kind of world that Brooke helped to create with her love of family, her brightness, her sweetness, and her goodness. If God could make a Brooke Shandloff, Fernandez, DJ's watching, then the world God gave us must be a decent and good one, even though it is one often filled with pain, confusion, and tragedy. Our tradition, too, has no simple explanation or formula for this. To understand it, even Moses, our greatest teacher, taught, Hanistarot ladonai Eloheinu, the secret things belong to the Lord our God. Brooke's short life was barely not enough. Her untimely death cuts off a life that was just beginning. In fact, our ancient sages tell us that when a young person dies so much before their time, the Almighty God himself weeps with the family for their loss. I have no doubt God is surely weeping along with all of us at this. Our faith in God and in God's wisdom can provide for us the fortitude and courage to know that moments of despair are, we hope, brief, and that moments of joy and happiness will eventually outweigh them. Those moments come to us through the gift of memory, through the gifts of love that Brooke had for all of you and that you had for her. There's a story in our tradition of King David, whose young son was ill. And David wore sackcloth and put ashes on his face and his head. He wore sackcloth. And after a period of time, he fasted and he prayed. And after a period of time, the Bible tells us that the child died. And when the servants went to tell King David of his death, they found King David already dressed and cleaned up and sitting at a banquet table ready to once again partake of life. David answers, "While the child was still alive, I fasted and wept, for I thought, who knows whether the Lord will be gracious to me that the child will live. But now he is dead. Why should I fast? Can I bring him back? Shall I go to him? But he will not return to me." That's why we wanted to celebrate Brooke's life today. Nothing will bring her back, but we can all find the joy, the blessing, the happiness in speaking about a life that was indeed so special that we should celebrate it. I was fortunate enough, blessed perhaps, to have both Heather and Brooke growing up in the synagogue when I was here. And Evan, thanks for saying what you said about Heather and Brooke, that Heather wasn't the cool kid. Because now I can say what I was going to say. I say it in a nicer way. I had both girls, and you know, thank you. I love Heather. You know, as rabbis, we have these moments with individuals throughout their life. We have bar, bat mitzvahs, and baby names. They're usually too young for that to understand. I didn't have, Rabbi Agler did Heather's bat mitzvah. I did Brooke's. But I had the great joy of taking Heather to Israel with the confirmation class. And it was during that period of time, I feel blessed that I got to know her better, and I think and I hope and I do know that we have this beautiful bond because of it. I didn't have that opportunity with Brooke. She didn't go to Israel with me. I know she went on birthright, but we bonded over something different. We bonded over New Orleans. My son went to Tulane. We used to talk all the time about New Orleans. And when I look at Heather and when I looked at Brooke, and I see the joy that both shared, I put it this way. I told Heather, Heather always colored within the lines. Brooke didn't color within the lines. Brooke enjoyed coloring outside the lines. And one would you look at the two sisters and you see Heather, her dark hair and complexion, and you'd look at Brooke and her light hair and her light complexion, and you think, Brooke looks angelic and Heather, well, looks, in your own way, a little darker, okay? And I always thought, shouldn't she be the mazik? Shouldn't she be the spirited, devilish one? No, it was Brooke. Brooke was so full of being Brooke. And, you know, when I went to Israel with Heather and we had this experience together, there was this closeness between us. And you wonder if you're ever going to have that closeness with someone else who's bat mitzvah you do. But I had that closeness with Brooke because Brooke loved talking to me about her life and about her situation. We loved talking about New Orleans and Tulane. We had that in common. Ned, when you were suffering at your worst, Brooke would talk to me about how to deal with the fact that your father, your beloved parent, is suffering and what you can do or you can't do about it. And she used to talk to me about it. And DJ, when she got involved with you, don't think she didn't talk to me about getting married to somebody who wasn't Jewish. I must have given her good advice. She got married to DJ. She was genuine. She was honest. She was very real. And she lived life with this gleam in her eye and this smile on her face that if you were having a tough time, she was the person you'd want to be with because she would make you feel happy. She would lift your spirits. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to speak with her prior to her death. I know she wanted to hopefully bring the baby back here for a baby naming and give me the pleasure, the blessing, the opportunity to do so. There's great satisfaction as a rabbi and as a human being to know that somebody trusted you and cared for you, sought your advice, and Brooke did that. And I know that she was there for all of you in all that you needed. And I know you were there for her as she spoke so glowingly to me of the love of her parents, Heather, you and Evan, Sophie, you and Abby. Friends, there will never be a replacement for Brooke. God's wisdom never makes two people alike in a world of billions of people. Still, the cycle of nature makes it possible for us to pour out our affection on DJ, her husband, Gemma, her daughter, Ned and Patty, her parents, Heather, her sister, Evan, her brother-in-law, and Sophie and Abby, her nieces. As mortals, we must bow to the ultimate force of the universe and offer thanks for the gifts we still retain, for the love of Brooke that can never be diminished, for the memories of her that will perpetuate our love, will also help us to be there for her daughter, Gemma. I pray that this will be a source of comfort to all of you and to all of us. As friends and loved ones, we offer our prayers that Brooke's family, with our love and our help, can overcome this tragedy and eventually find the cheer and happiness they once knew and once again see the sunshine behind the clouds that have obscured our vision. We offer our heartfelt prayers to God that God gives them hope, courage, love, and devotion to help them bring Brooke's beauty, her dreams, and her spirit to her daughter Gemma, to all of her family, and to all of us. Zichrona livracha. May her memory indeed inspire us and bless us. Let's take a moment in silence that each of us can offer our own thoughts and prayers as we recall the beauty, the joy, the spirit of Brooke Shandloff Fernandez.
Is it on? Is this one on? Oh, now it's on. Hi. Got it. Okay, thanks. I'm bad at this. Heather asked me if I would sing a song. This is hard, but I practiced it a lot so that maybe it would go well, but I apologize if it doesn't. This is a song that I've thought of every day since Brooke has passed. I've thought of a lot of songs, but this one, I think this one's good. I have heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now, no matter way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a skybird in the distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for. But then again, I guess there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a bird in the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you, because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
With all this love, all these tears, all this emotion, we invite everyone now to please rise for El Malay Rachamim.
El Malay Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hamsei Menuchan Nechona Tachat Kanfei Ashchina Im Kiddushim Uteorim Kizohar Harakia Mazhirim Et Nishmat Shira Bina Bat Nechemia Vepenina Shehalcha Baal Rachamim Yastireha B'seiter Kenafav Leolamim Veitzror Bitzror Hachaim Et Nishmata Adonai Hu Nachlata V'tanuach B'shalom Al Mishkava Al Mishkava V'nomar Amen.
Compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Brooke Shandloff Fernandez, known in Hebrew as Shira Bina Bat Nechemia Vepenina, for she has entered into eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence. Sheltered in the shadow of your wings, let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us all say,
Amen.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר יצר אתכם בצלמו וזן וחיכל אתכם בטובו והמת אתכם בדין ונטע בתוככם חיי עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני דיין האמת. We praise you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who forms us in the divine image, who nourishes us and sustains us in your goodness, who causes all of us to die, and who implants immortal life within us. Receive in mercy, O God, the soul of our departed Brooke. Grant her that everlasting peace which you have prepared for us in the world to come, though no human eye has seen, nor ear has heard, nor mind has grasped it. Still, it is our sure inheritance and our everlasting portion. In this spirit, O God, we commit all that is precious to us into your keeping, as we repeat words hallowed by the generation. Kaddish Yatom. Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach riuteh ve'amlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Israel, b'agala v'zman karev v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ulmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'a v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran ba'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlomo Rabbah min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us, as together we say, Amen. For our mourners, we say, Amakom yinachem etchem betoch sharei avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Please be seated. Brooke's name will be read here at Congregation B'nai Israel for the period of Shiva, the 7 days of mourning, as well as the 30 days of mourning for Shloshim, both on Fridays and on Saturdays, again here at Congregation B'nai Israel. We are about to conclude our service. When we do, it is a tradition within comfort to have something called an aruchat havra'ah, a meal of consolation. And so we have that for everyone here also, where everyone can continue to give those hugs and those kisses. And so upon the conclusion of our service, you are invited to head out the main doors of the sanctuary and turn left and walk all the way down the hallway to our ballroom for the meal of consolation for everyone here. Bless you. Please continue to be, everyone here, the malach, that angel, that we can be the support and the love for Brooke's family. Thank you again for being here this afternoon and for sharing your presence and your love and your care and your support. This concludes our service for the afternoon.
forget about
It's like this.
I haven't seen you. Oh my God. Every time I'm here, you're not. I've been here 3 times. Really? For the Grandparents' Day.
I was here at one of the grandparents'
I
days.
was here Monday.
I was here
and Tuesday.
Oh, was I here Wednesday then? I did 2 of them back to back. It must have been Wednesday.
I did not.
I would say only.
I guess I have to call her Rabbi Khan, but Sam.
So good to see you. But next time I'll do something better.
Absolutely.
Okay? I can't believe I haven't seen you. I've been in here so many times looking, too.
So can we hang out sometime?
Yes. You're very busy though, right?
And I'm about to leave town for Israel for a couple weeks, but we have an open room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Matt's
works
home.
here. Oh,
No. He works in Fort Lauderdale.
okay.
Yeah, but let's make plans for like March or April. Okay.
I mean, we're here.
I was gonna say every time I pass Mill Pond, I'm like,
I know. We're here.
what could have been?
I know.